Hare Krishna, dear devotees. Welcome again to our rubric, How Did I Come to Krishna Consciousness? Today we have a very, very special guest, Tulasi Prabhu. Hare Krishna Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Tulasi Prabhu is a senior brahmachari from our Bulgarian yatra. He's an international preacher, book distributor, scholar, and beloved senior devotee in our yatra. Very, very special friend to all of us. And also he's very special to me because he's my first guru, the first person that I have ever met in Krishna consciousness. And I'm very nervous and very excited actually to take interview from him. And
You shouldn't be.
I'm very happy to have you here, Prabhu. And I'm sure your story will be amazing. And please tell us your story. How did you come to Krishna consciousness?
Hare Krishna. First, thank you for inviting me. And how did I came to Krishna consciousness? Well, let me start a little bit earlier. How did I became interested at all from spirituality? Because the truth of the matter is I was not at all spiritual person since my childhood. Neither any of my parents or maybe one of my grandmother, she was kind of believing in God, but as a general, my family was not very, very, very religious or spiritual. So with the time, certain things happened, like when I was around 10 years old, and there was like kind of a tragedy in the family. I had a smaller sister, and she got sick because of the Chernobyl situation. Wow. And she died.
How old was she?
She was maybe 5 or 6.
Oh, really?
I was like 10.
Wow.
And that was a big shock for the whole family. So at that time, in a sense, my father also kind of, he became more open about spiritual stuff. And even later, one time when I was already a devotee, my mother, she shared with me, she said, when you and your sister when you were very young, sometimes your grandmother will come and start talking to you about God, about this, that. And I was thinking within myself, why this old lady is bothering these kids with these stupid phantasmagoria things. But then later, she said, I understood that was wrong. I was thinking in this way. And anyway, my father also, he told me when these things happened and my mom was with my sister in the hospital, he went to one very, very famous lady to ask what will happen in the future. That was Vanga.
Really? Your father came to Vanga? Wow.
He went to Vanga, and because he didn't have any time, he went just for one day. And he said, I went there and there was a huge queue.
Yeah.
And at that time, the queue was big, like it means you have to wait maybe a few hours, maybe the whole day. Mm-hmm. So he bribed the security of Vanga to go in front. And he entered very fast, like within 20 minutes he was inside. The moment he entered inside, Vanga told him, why are you going in front of everybody else? Wow. And he said, well, because my case is special. And Vanga told him, no, the case of everyone is special here. Nobody is more special than the other ones. Wow. So anyway, he had some faith in something spiritual after that. And later, because of that, we moved from Sofia, we went to Bankia. Mm-hmm. And I was living there. Like Bankia is, for those who don't know, it's like a small place outside of the capital in Bulgaria. So more like relaxed life, peaceful life, nature. And I remember I was maybe 13. Mm-hmm. I guess I was 12, 13. One night, my father came home and he called from the outside door. He just called my mom. And he said, "Honey, come here to see. I have some present for you."
Uh-huh.
And my mom went there and she said, "Oh, this is so beautiful. I always wanted to have such a special pot for sugar, this, that." So they were talking some present. And then my mom said, "What is this book? I never before seen such kind of book, like Indian book. Why have you brought me Indian book?" Then I became curious and I went to see, and it was the second part of Krishna book.
Wow.
And we were looking at the book, and anyway, my parents, they were also not like super into reading, and somehow the book ended into our library and nobody looked at it again.
Somebody was distributing that book to your father.
Yeah, later I asked him, "Who gave you this book?" He said, "Yeah, it was like some boy, maybe 20 something years old." I said, "Where?" He said, "Yeah, around like Krasnosel, this part
Okay.
of Sofia." So from what I know from the devotees who were distributing at that time, this must be like Shashabindu Prabhu or Madhva Prabhu or Kavinka Prabhu or
Nice.
some of those devotees. They were always distributing big books all the time. Anyway, when the summer came and at some point I was bored, and then I decided, okay, let me see what is there in these books. Somehow I never read books, but somehow I decided to take this one. And I read maybe, I don't know, at least 1/3, maybe even half of the book. And I remember the stories were interesting, like the Shamantaka Jew story, and Krishna is fighting to get the different queens. Interesting stories, but all the names, they were so complicated. Like that was a nightmare to read these names.
Too much.
Yeah, and then at some point I said, no, this is, maybe later I'll finish it, and I just left it back in the library. And that was it, kind of the beginning of the spiritual life, although I didn't knew that this is the real beginning. And then later I was just like practicing sports like basketball and going to school. My father, he had a special friend. They were actually like schoolmates for a while. And this man, he was in a sense very spiritual, not like Krishna conscious spiritual, but he was very much into all kinds of impersonal philosophies and spirituality. And he had some also very transformational periods in his life because he separated with his wife.
Mm-hmm.
And this made him to look more seriously about something spiritual. And one year, I guess I was at that time, whatever, maybe 14, 15, we went together on the Black Sea for a week or two, my family, and he came with us.
Mm-hmm.
And then while, like, you know, people on the generally summertime, they go to some resort and they just walk at night, and we're walking like that in the city, and he started talking about how actually what we are perceiving in the world is not the reality, and the reality is completely different. And I was like, what do you mean? Like, then what is the reality? He said, you have no idea what is the reality. The real reality is like earth, water, fire, air, ether. And I was like, what are you talking about? I couldn't get it, but he was explaining, and it was very interesting to, like, completely different idea about life and what is life. And then I was asking him more questions, and then he explained how he was doing this long fasts. Let's say he wouldn't eat for whatever 27 days, just drink water. And then he had this basically he was saying, then I experienced God. And okay, then sometimes he would say, I experienced I became God also, or something like that. But it was something very interesting, something new, something different. So he really make me think about all these things.
Mm-hmm.
And then again, he was coming sometimes in our house, and immediately I was asking him questions, and he would talk. His name was Chicho Misho.
Chicho Misho.
And he was an interesting person. Of course, I'm grateful to him, to the knowledge that he gave me, but he would have these long periods that he would be like very austere, and he wouldn't eat meat, and he wouldn't drink, and he would be like eating 2 apples and whatever, 5 walnuts a day. And then after 2 months, he would just completely go into the other extreme, and he would come home and he would bring wine and rakia and whatever, some other substances for eating, and they would just start with my father eating and drinking. And when he becomes kind of a little bit drunk, and he would start talking to me all these things, and I was asking questions, but then at some point he would say, okay, I won't talk more because your father will throw me out of here. And yeah, that was again some kind of like a stepping stone in the spiritual life. And then little later, I was into fitness, making muscles to become very beautiful.
Nice.
Attractive for the girls in the class. And one day I was eating my
healthy
healthy sandwich in the center of Sofia, and a lady came in front of me, and that was Mataji Padma Malini.
Haribo!
Interestingly, she was looking very different than all other ladies. Mm-hmm. She was very beautiful and shiny, but different beauty, not like the materialistic beauty, like a purity beauty. Mm. Yes. And she was very attractive, and I was like, wow, what is this lady like? What does she want from me? So she said, I have some nice books here, can I show you these books? And I said, okay, you have 10 minutes, I'm eating now, so no problem. And she started explaining to me and this and that, and I was listening, and then at some point, I asked her a question that I would never think I would ask.
Okay.
I said, this thing, what you are explaining about yoga and meditation, I was always very curious to know all about these things. And I was like, did I say this? Or like, what?
Was I always?
What happened? And yeah, she said, oh, really? You're interested? Okay, let me read something from you. And I remember she opened one very thick book. It was the biggest there.
Okay.
And she started reading these verses. And these verses, they were saying, like, what is the use to try to accumulate so much money and build a big house when you can use the caves in the mountains? What is the use to use a pillow when you can use your hands? Why do you need a plate and a cup when you can use the palms of your hands and like that? And that was also very like a little bit like a revelation. What? Like, wow, like someone is taking you from this reality and brings you somewhere else. And I didn't know how much impact these verses they had in me. I actually understood this many years later, because maybe, I don't know, 5, 6, 7 years later, when I came to read second canto of Bhagavatam, and I came to these verses. They are like in second or third chapter of Bhagavatam. Then I understood. These are the verses that this lady read to me. So somehow they impressed me so much that I remember these verses.
Of course. The first verses from Bhagavatam.
Yeah. And then she said, can you give donation? I said, sure, no problem. I have 30 stutinki, 30 cents. You want them? She said, yeah, why not? And she took them, and then she said, okay, I'll give you one book as a present. Nice. I said, okay, I'll take it. And she said, read this book, and this is our address. It was maybe, I don't know, Monday, Tuesday. She said, read the book till the end of the week and come Saturday to our place. I'll be there, I'll be waiting for you. And I said, okay, I'll try to come. And at that time, for me, it was important. If you say something, you have to do it.
How old were you?
I guess I was at that time 16. I think it
16.
was 1997, if I'm correct.
Okay.
Because I was, I think, first course in the high school, something like that. And I went home and I started reading the book. I mean, first the book, it was a very strange book. Like I never saw such a strange book.
Which
That
book?
was The Perfection of Yoga. If you have seen the old edition, it's almost a square book. It's very like, there was no such kind of books at that time. Very strange shape. And on the front page, you have Krishna with Uddhava. But the Uddhava is sitting on some strange yoga posture that his body is completely one side and his head is completely other side. So that was looking also very strange. And then I looked the book on the other side and there was a picture of Prabhupada with so much chandan that his whole forehead was like yellow. And I said, what is like, everything was looked so different, so strange, like, who is this very old man with, what is this yellow thing on his face, and this man who is like, his body is in one direction and his head is other direction. And the script also was very strange on the book. It's like similar script to our Krishna book script, like this very like prolonged letters with some very oriental, very like different. And I never saw something like that. So this was like, what is this book? And then I started to read the book and it was like all about Krishna and God and surrender. And it was interesting for me, I guess, because of the other discussions I had before that. But it was different, and Srila Prabhupada was very demanding. His style of presentation was very demanding and very strong. So I didn't like this, but I had to admit that what he is saying is the truth. I could understand what he is saying is the truth, and this person, he knows what he's talking. Somehow I could understand this. Basically, like for 5-6 days, I finished the book.
Because you promised?
I didn't promise I will read it for a week, but it was a good book. It was interesting. So I was reading it. I was carrying it with me. And I remember at the end of the book, there is this interesting description how if the devotee is chanting Hare Krishna, very sincerely, this plant of devotion starts growing and gradually penetrates the universe, the shells of the universe, and gradually goes through the spiritual world and goes to the highest planet and reaches the lotus feet of Krishna, and then the plant starts giving fruits, and these are the fruits of love of God. That was also some very like,
what is that?
What is that? And like, where are we? And we are going out of the universe and some shells and then another planets, and then there is a highest planet. That was inconceivable, like all this information, and it was like, whoa, okay. Anyway, so I read the book. I didn't want to accept what is inside, in a sense that Prabhupada was giving it very strongly, but I could not say that it's not true. I could understand, yes, that's the reality. So then I decided to go Saturday, and I went to that time devotees. They were based in Curie place, and I went there, and I was like, I went to the front door, knocked, ring, nothing, nobody. I went on the other side. At that time there was like a bamboo fence there, and I tried to look around, screaming, knocking, nothing, nobody.
Wow.
And then I was thinking, okay, maybe I just have to go, but somehow I was like, no, I have to find someone. Then I went again in front, and then somehow someone appeared. Maybe that was Shashabindo, but I'm not sure. And he said, oh, you're here for the program? I said, yes. He said, okay, go here inside. And then, there is this internal, very dark corridor in Curie, like 3-4 meters. He just brought me there and closed the door behind me, and it was a little bit, I mean,
Scary.
like 16 years old boy, you go to completely unknown place and they tell you to go in some dark corridor, and then at the end of the corridor was this metal door. I guess it's still the same door, and I start opening the door and it's like on the horror movies, like and I was like, what's happening? Then I enter inside and there was nobody there. And I sat down on like one sofa like this one, and I was sitting 5 minutes, 10 minutes, so I didn't know what's happening. Like, and then at some point another man came, and then I cool down a little bit more. Okay, at least now we are two. If there is some problem, we can fight better. And then the door opened, and 3 huge brahmacharis came in.
Wow.
These were, I think, Madhva, Shtanu Prabhu, and Jivanuga Prabhu. All 3 of them, I mean, in comparison with me, they were like huge guys.
So Shtanu Prabhu was a brahmachari that time. He wasn't yet married to Padma Malini.
Not yet, but in a process.
Okay.
And I'll tell you a little later.
Okay.
And then they came, and they were, of course, with saffron clothes. That was also very strange. And then they brought from somewhere these very strange instruments, like karataus and mridanga and harmonium. And there was like a small cupboard at the end of the room. And they opened this cupboard, and inside there was some doughs. These were the small Jagannath Baladev Subhadra Devis of Narada Muni Prabhu.
Mm-hmm. That they're still there in Curie.
Yes. For me, that was also very strange. Like, what is this, and why they are opening it? And they started singing on a Sanskrit language. That was also very strange. Everything was super strange, unknown, difficult to understand. But somehow it was attractive on a different level, like on a transcendental level, very attractive. And I just stayed throughout the whole program, through the kirtan. They spoke something. I couldn't understand everything, but some of the things, they were making sense already because I read the book a little bit. Mm-hmm. So anyway, the program was over, and then Padma Malini came, and then I was, okay, now I know one guy, one person. Thank you. And she came and she spoke to me maybe 1 minute or 2 minutes. Mm-hmm. And she said, I'll bring one person now here. And she brought Shtanu Prabhu. Okay. And said, this is my future husband. He'll take care of you.
Nice.
And that was it. That was it. And I said, okay, nice of you, but I mean, I don't know him. But anyway. And Shtanu Prabhu, next moment, he came with a huge plate. Like, at that time, devotees, they were serving prasadam in these aluminum plates without any borders, just like one big, like a plateau plate, and they just put everything inside, and it was like big mountain of prasadam, like big. And I told him, man, I'm training fitness, and I have a diet, and I'm eating 7 times a day, little bit like this, forget it, I cannot eat this, just forget. Shtanu Prabhu, he was so lovingly and pleasantly determined that basically he just put his huge hand on my shoulder and he said, don't worry, you'll finish it, no problem. I was like, okay. And he sat down, and someone else came, and they started talking to me, and we were eating. And 1.5 hours later, everything was gone.
The magic of the prasadam.
Yes, it was really the magic of the prasadam. And somehow, because of the program, the association, the prasadam, I remember when I came out, and I never experienced such a euphoria, such a like
I know what you're talking
happiness in my life. And I did things. It's not that I'm a holy guy. I did all the things that the young people are doing, like everything, because you try to get this euphoria, this happiness. But this was special. That was, you cannot compare it with anything else. And it was real, because there were no drugs, no Okay, and I kind of never took drugs in my life. That's maybe my only good quality. But everything else I did. But that was special. That was special. That was pure and it was real. And I like it so much. And I said to myself when I left, okay, I have to come again.
Nice.
But then I became a little scared and I said, no, okay, I'll come, but not so often. Maybe I'll come once every month or two.
You became scared because to not become some fanatic.
Yes, too attached,
Too attached.
too fast. But I was already kind of into it. And yeah, then I started coming from time to time and seeing the devotees. Then I decided to experiment a little bit more because I said, okay, anyway, Hare Krishna, Hare Rama, but like I'm a Christian and the Christians, you know, it's a little bit more difficult. So let me see, maybe I can find something there also. So then I started reading the Bible. I was going to church every day.
Wow. Which church? This Orthodox?
Orthodox church in my small city, Bankia. Maybe around 1 year I was going there.
And again to the church, together church and Hare Krishna.
Church I was going every day.
Okay.
Because I decided let me first experiment with the church and Christianity. I would go from school. Let's say sometimes we'll have 3 hours and then I'll just go to the church. My friends, they'll go to the cafeteria, I'll go to the church.
Wow.
So they were joking with me sometimes because I was nice, I was cool, I was acting like them, but let's say they'll go to the coffee, I'll go to get mineral water from the park, or I'll go to the church, and I was a little bit weird. But they liked me, but I was weird already.
But what did you do in the church?
I would just pray. Just go and go there, and I like it to be there, and I would just stay there and I would pray. And sometimes I would speak a little bit with the priest or with some of the old ladies there. And yeah, this went on maybe for a year or so, but I was also going like every month or so, I was going to the Hare Krishna. And meanwhile, I also went to check out a few Protestant churches in Sofia.
Interesting.
And it was also nice. They had, Orthodox Church, they had good understanding and explanation of why you're doing something and what you're supposed to do. But there was no any association. There like no young people. Everything was a little bit dry. The only person I could speak with was the young priest, and he was like at that time maybe, I don't know, 30 or 35, which in my eyes it was like this guy's old, like really old. I mean, he had a beard even, so very old. And it was difficult to communicate. And then also one time, the wife of this priest, she was my dentist, so I was there.
Oh, okay.
I wanted like to get my teeth repaired, and he came after job, I guess, there, and they spoke a little bit, and he said, I'm going to the shop to get few beers, and I'm going home, and I'm waiting there for you. And I already, from the books of the Hare Krishnas, I had some understanding, some knowledge, like what is pure and what is impure. So that was obviously one of the impure things. Like if you're a spiritual guy, you don't drink, you don't take alcohol, intoxication. So that was already like a big problem.
Yeah. Contradiction.
Contradiction, serious contradiction. And this made me lose a little bit faith in in this tradition. I mean, respect to this tradition, but just somehow I was looking for something else. Place where people are saying something and they live the same thing. And then I check out the Protestants. It was better. They were very fired up, and young people come and talk to you, and they kind of want to preach to you and bring you in more. And it was much better in a sense. I mean, when it comes to association.
Yes.
But I also felt like there was some, everything was a little bit external, a little bit unnatural in this association. It was a little bit like a script. Now we have to associate with you and smile to you, and we have to become friends only so that you come to our church. It was a little bit it was not completely natural.
Yeah.
So I could feel this. But again, nice people, I respect them. It was nice. Even one time they had some special guys, some special priests from, I don't know, Japan or whatever. And he was giving initiations. And they said, okay, you have to do it also. Go, go, go. And I said, okay, what I have to do? They said, now he'll come and tell you something, you have to do it. And I was like, internally, I was so nervous. And like, anyway, I went through the whole thing, but I did not feel what, like, you know, they were saying now the Holy Spirit will enter in you and you start speaking languages and you'll feel the power of God in you and this, that. And I tried to feel it, but somehow it didn't really work for me somehow. I don't know, maybe I was too impure at that time. And then meanwhile I was going still to the Hare Krishna place and I was speaking with old devotees who at that time, like devotees, I mean, not all, like senior, like Purusha Chuta Prabhu, Rupa Manohara Prabhu. At that time, let's say they were in their 50s maybe.
Okay.
Or let's say 40 something.
Yes, 40 something probably.
Yeah. I was a kid, 16, 17 years old, okay, maybe 18.
Yeah.
So these people, for me, they were old people. These were grandfathers. And they were talking to me like equals. They were like talking to me like they're talking to a friend, not like a boy and they're giving him instructions and explaining everything about life and now you have to listen to me. No, I never felt this. So I had this realization, wow, these people, they are so much older than me and more experienced. But at the same time, they are treating me as equal. And I could feel this is because of their spiritual consciousness. They are actually, somehow they are seeing me as a spiritual person, not as the body.
Wow, very nice realization.
And you could experience it. Like you could, I felt this. I felt that, okay, yes, I'm coming here and there are like four, 5, 6 guys and looks like there's some very like small society. And then when I go to the church, like there are 500 people. But somehow with these people, I feel more close. And also there was no a question that I could ask and these people, they didn't know the answer. So that was also very impressive. Like, what are these guys? Like some, I don't know, wizards or what? Like how it is possible to know the answer of every single question? In the church, it was not like that. Sometimes I was asking questions, they were getting a little bit irritated or saying, well, you don't have to know this now, later you understand this. Hare Krishnas were never saying this. They would just tell you what they know. And if they don't know something, they'll say, this is how much I know and I don't know more than this. And all this like purity and sincerity, it was very
attractive.
Yeah, very attractive. So at some point I had to make my choice, what will be my spiritual path. And I decided, okay, I want to be with these people. Okay, they're little and maybe other people think they're strange, but I think these are the real guys and I want to go with them. And then I start coming more and more often to the devotees. I finished school and my parents, they asked me to go for a like 3 months English course to improve my English. And I said, yeah, sure, no problem. So then I was going from morning till noon for English lessons. And then in the afternoon, because my parents, they were working this, that, I would immediately go to the Hare Krishna temple.
Nice.
And I would eat there, I would spend my money there, I would eat there, spend time with the devotees. And then one day, one of the senior devotees came to me, Bhagadatta Prabhu. He said, you know what, we are planning here for one vegetarian course. Do you have some idea to learn to cook sometimes in your life? I said, yeah, this is what I'm learning actually. The school I finished was about cooking and hotel management and tourism. Yes, I like these things. I want to cook. He said, okay, join us then. And then I said to my parents, you know, I want to sign up for this course and it's a vegetarian course and this and that. They're like, why do you want to go to a vegetarian course? And I said, no, it will be very nice. I have healthy life, this, that.
But were you vegetarian at that time or no?
No,
not yet.
I was not.
Oh.
And but I was seeing this as an opportunity to spend more time with the devotees. So they agreed, and that was an excuse. Like 2 or 3 times a week, I could stay till very late with the devotees. Basically, I would go home maybe around 9 or something. So basically, the whole day I'll be with the devotees, and we would cook. It was very nice. We were maybe like 4, 5, 6 people in the course. We would cook together. Mataji Jayanti was also there. I guess because of this course, they
got married.
They got together with Bhagavato Prabhu. That's my speculation.
Okay.
But this is how things work in this world. And we would like one day, let's say, we would make different kinds of rice. Then next day, different kinds of sweets. Next day, different kinds of sabjis. We will cook, offer, and then always we will sit down and eat together. And it was very nice, like super nice experience. And when this was over, basically it was the last year of my school. And I had to have practice at the end. Like summertime, it was supposed to be practice. So we were sent to Black Sea, to Kiten, for 1.5 months. We had to practice there to be like waiters and reception guys and this and that. This from the school, obligatory.
Yes.
So I said, okay, I'll be like 1.5 months without my parents. That's the best time to become a vegetarian. And I did it. I became vegetarian. But because I didn't know what to eat, how much to eat, all these things, like everything was new, I lost maybe like 10 kilos for this 1.5 months. When I came home and my parents, they were like freaking out. And they said, what's happening?
It's because of work.
I said, no, I'm just experimenting vegetarianism a little bit. He said, first says, what is this stupid things, vegetarianism? Start eating immediately. I said, no, just give me another month and then no problem. Everything could be like before. And they kind of became relaxed. But then I was continuing to losing kilos. It was because I became vegetarian partially, but mainly because I also read some other yoga books in which it was written that, if you're doing yoga properly, you have so much prana in your body, you don't have to take much prana from the food, so you can eat very little. So I was kind of eating, let's say, I don't know, like 1 piece of bread a day with some salad and a little bit, whatever, cheese or few nuts. Not enough food for like a young guy who is training and running and this and that. So I really drastically start losing kilos more and more and more. And then at some point, I became so skinny. I became like from maybe 72-3 kilos, I became 55.
Wow.
And my father, one day, he became so scared. When he saw me, he started yelling at me and screaming and almost beating me. He said, I don't want to see my son dying in front of my eyes. Do immediately something, otherwise I'll throw you out of this house and this and that. And then this kind of shocked me. And I went and I saw myself in the mirror. I didn't pay much attention to that. And when I saw my legs, they were kind of thin. And I said, okay, maybe I have to do something. But then I didn't know what to do exactly. So actually then I started going more regularly to devotees and I started eating every day prasadam with the devotees. And then for maybe 1 month I put 7-8 kilos up.
Okay.
And my parents, they were so happy. And I was also happy because I was also getting a little bit scared. And then my parents, they told me, you know what? You have to study more. And I said, I don't want to study anymore. It's over. I mean, I respect everyone, but I know this is one thing I don't want to do anymore in my life. Okay. They said, okay, no problem. Then start working. And I said, okay, I'll work. And I shared this with the devotees, and the devotees told me, okay, why don't you work with us? I said, what do you mean? They said, well, you can come and distribute books with us, and this can be your job. I said, sounds great, but the problem is, you know, my parents, they want to see I'm bringing some money. And if I work for you, I have to give you all the money. So I don't think it will work. I don't mind doing it, but
Yeah.
I see already now I see the problem. And then the devotees, they thought about it, and they came to me and they said, you know, we decided you can distribute the books and pay the books, and you can keep all the rest of the money for you. And just show your parents you have some money and you're independent. It's very important to show them you're independent. You can deal with your life. You are mature enough. And I said, okay, wow, that's a great opportunity. Let's try to do it.
And how was the Sankirtan back in these days?
Well, I can tell you how was my first day.
Okay.
No, actually, that was not the first day. That was maybe the third day. My first day was the December marathon, I guess it was 1999. And Shtam Prabhu told me, I'll be out distributing books, come and see how the things are working. I said, okay, let's do it. And then I went, and I remember he was distributing in the subway of the NDK, National Castle of Culture. At that time, that was a super busy place. Like, there was like a huge place with shops there. And it was a very, very busy place. So I went there, and I was looking at him, and he was very enthusiastic, speaking with the people. I said, okay, doesn't look so difficult. Let me try doing it. And I was just imitating him, and people started taking books. And I think they took like for 2 hours, maybe 6 or 7 books.
Nice.
And I was, okay, it's not so difficult. What's the problem? Like, I can do that, easy.
2 hours a day.
Yeah. And then I told him, okay, I'm coming tomorrow again. He said, great, let's do it again tomorrow. So I went next day, and I tried 15 minutes, half an hour, 1 hour, 2 hours, nothing. And I was, I'm not sure, maybe this is not for me. He said, don't worry, relax, just go to the temple. And so that take prasadam. So that was my experience during the Prabhupada Marathon. Then the devotees talked to me, and I agreed to try to work book distribution. And then I remember my first official working day was 17th of January. I guess that was 2000. And my Sankirtan partner was His Grace Shashabindu Prabhu, who was very experienced book distributor at that time, and he was really taking care of me. Actually, he's one person I really have to pay my regards and gratefulness, because when I joined in the temple a little later, he spent 6 months non-stop with me. We would chant together, eat together, walk together, distribute books together. For 6 months, he didn't let me even maybe for 15 minutes.
Nice.
He was training me completely in Krishna consciousness. So we went together with him, and it was January, and it was cold, and it was snowing like anything. There was, remember, maybe at least 15 centimeters of snow. It was real winter. And at that time, the style of the devotees was like nobody was distributing shop to shop or...
Just on the street?
Just on the street, walking. You just go on the street and you walk ahead, and then you meet people and you offer them a book, and then you walk more. So I remember we walked like maybe for, I don't know, 2 hours, 3 hours straight. Wow. Like we walked maybe at least 5-6 kilometers. It was a long, long walk. And nobody took even one book.
Oh, Krishna.
Nobody. And it was very depressing, like cold, and everyone is just like telling you, get lost of here. We don't need books. And what is this spiritual stupid thing? It was very difficult. And then at the end, one lady, she stopped and she took a small book for whatever, one left maybe. And that was like, okay, at least they took something. Like, I'm not really like completely lost. But then I remember I kind of start getting more and more depressed because I was thinking, okay, like planning to work this, how I'm going to work this? Like I cannot pay my ticket, like transportation ticket.
Oh.
It's not going to work. But anyway, I was not saying, but Shashbindu, he saw that there is a problem and he came and he embraced me. He said, don't worry, let's go to the temple, let's take prasadam, everything will be all right, tomorrow will be better, it's okay. Then I said, yeah, let's go. And then on the way back, he said, I just have to check one person here, come wait for me for like 5 minutes. And we entered like a small building with many, inside the building there was like not really like a shops, more like a, how to say, like a marketplace with clothes and all these things. So there was a place where you can check different clothes, and I was waiting there and he disappeared. And while I was waiting with all these books, and a lady came there waiting to check whatever, some jeans or something. And she looked at the book and she said, oh, these are your books? I said, yeah, yes and no. And it's complicated. And she said, oh, I know this book, Bhagavad Gita. So you're selling this or you bought them or what? I said, no, we are kind of selling them, but we are not actually selling them. It's like for donation. And she said, can I see? And I said, yeah, sure, of course you can see. And she looked through Bhagavad Gita and she said, yeah, I know this book. Okay, how much?
Wow.
And I couldn't believe. And I said, it's 10 leva. And she took 10 leva and gave to me.
10 leva were money that
Quite
time.
some money.
Okay.
Maybe 10 leva now would be something like, I guess 50 leva, something.
Wow.
Like that.
Nice.
And she left, and I was so ecstatic that I was just waiting. And when Shasha, I saw him coming from a distance, and I started screaming like, Shasha, they bought the book, Bhagavad Gita. He was like, okay, relax, let's go outside, you tell me everything. I was like, Haribol. He said, okay, let's go to the temple. But that was like, wow. And it was kind of like experience that, okay, Sankirtan is not just like selling books. Sankirtan is you actually serve Krishna, and if Krishna is happy with you, he'll make some arrangement. And that was a lesson. Nice. That was the first lesson that Krishna showed. Don't worry, if you're doing this, I will help you. And then next days there were more lessons. Like I remember one day we were in front of Endeka.
Okay.
Again, outside, like wind and snow and cold, so cold. At some point, I cannot hold the books anymore.
I know this experience, yes, this feeling.
It's intense. Yeah. And nobody wants to stop to talk to you. Like, I don't mind if they don't take book, but at least stop and talk to me a little bit. Like I'm a normal guy, okay? Nobody is even stopping, and I was like getting so depressed, and I was almost crying. And then I remember someone stopped, and I was like so happy that someone stopped. I don't care if they would get a book, at least the person stopped. And then while I was trying to communicate with him and talk, and I heard someone is running behind me.
Okay.
And some boy came in front of me, and he looked at me and he said, do you have Bhagavad Gita? Wow. And I was like, yes. And he gave me the money and he left. And I was like, again, Haribol, Hare Krishna. And this was happening regularly. Like, it was very difficult because they wouldn't take many books. Like somewhere in the place of my mom, I have still my first notebook where I was writing like every day how many books they took and how much Lakshmi. And it's something like, okay, Wednesday, 1 Bhagavad Gita, 1 Science of Self-Realization, and 1 small book. And okay, 3 level donation. And 170 for 2 tickets for the transportation. Okay, 130.
But also the money for the book you have to pay to the temple.
Yeah,
so
that's also. Some of the days it was like completely red, like 0, 0, 0, nothing. But always at the end, Krishna was arranging that you would have enough money to continue doing it. Okay. But it was a struggle. Every day it was clearly struggle, so much struggle that sometimes you become so depressed. We would just get together and we would go home and we would cry and we would whatever buy. If we have some money, we will buy like limonada, some lemon water, and just drink and get ready for the next day.
How were your parents about this? How they were feeling about this
They-
job?
They were feeling very uncomfortable. They're saying, why you're losing your precious time with this? It's like you don't make any money and you have such a good profession. You can make so much money every month.
Mhm.
Just give up this. And
But you were determined.
I was not sharing the whole information with them. I was kind of telling them, my strongest card against them was when they were very pushy. I would say, do I ask any money from you? And they were
Okay.
saying no. Then what's your problem? That means I'm managing. So give me the freedom to live my life. So
Nice.
they didn't have anything to say. So they said, okay, do whatever you want. Break your head. Come on, go. So more than 6 months, we would go like five days in a week on Sankirtan, like a work.
Wow.
I would go early in the morning to the temple, traveling 1.5 hours. I would go for the Bhagavatam class, breakfast, and then we will go for book distribution, like 5 hours.
Okay.
6 hours you'll be on the street, then go home, go back to the temple,
prasadam.
eat prasadam, and then I will travel 1.5 hours to go home.
Wow.
And
That's
then
so nice. Austerity.
austerity, and then because I read in the books you shouldn't sleep more than 6 hours because it's Maya. I was so tired at night, but I was forcing myself not to sleep because I would sleep more than 6 hours. So no, this is not good. And I would read and I would fall asleep all the time. And then it's 10:30. Okay, now I cannot do it anymore. And then next morning I would try to get up, and I could never get up like after 6 hours because you're tired, young also.
You need more.
And 6 months it was like that. So then devotees, they told me, why don't you join the temple? And I said, I would love to, but the problem is my parents. They said, well, figure it out, talk to them, maybe they'll agree. So then I thought about it, and then I said to my parents, I'm getting very tired traveling so much.
Okay.
So why don't you allow me 2 days or 3 days, instead of coming back, I'll just sleep there and then I'll come back. So let's say Monday I'll go there and I'll stay Monday evening,
Very
Tuesday
intelligent decision.
gradually.
Yeah.
And I'll come back like Wednesday evening or Thursday, something like that. And they didn't like it. My mother didn't like it, but at that time I was maybe like already 19 or something. So they said, well, you're a big boy. If you want to do it, but we don't like it.
Mm-hmm.
But then they didn't say no. So okay, that was it. That was my chance. And I took my stuff and I said to the devotees, okay, I'm moving in. And the devotees, they were so happy. So happy. And where did I move in? In the basement of Julio Curie. And it was like 2 rooms, maybe, I don't know, like 20 square meters, both of them living like maybe 10 devotees. And no light, no air, lots of cockroaches, big ones, like mutants. And sometimes we didn't have even warm water.
Krishna.
Not for long periods, but I remember every spring, every autumn, there'll be like a period of 2 or 3 weeks. They were making some change between the summer and winter season, and there will be no hot water. So it was austere life, but you were with the devotees. And that was the greatest blessings, because these were the greatest people in the whole universe. And it was so nice to be with them. So nice, so nice, so nice. So I was actually happy. although externally it was very difficult because of the Sankirtan, because of the conditions, because of you have to get up early every morning. Oh, this was very difficult, but it was blissful because of the devices. And Haribo. The rest is the history.
The rest you tell us in other video.
Sure, no problem. I'll be happy.
And I'm so happy, Prabhu, for you telling us your story. It was very interesting and inspiring.
Thank you for inviting me.
Yeah.
Both of you.
Yeah. My husband is from the other side of the camera.
It's the technical face of what you're seeing here.
Yeah. Thank you. So see you next time in next video.
Sure.
Hare
Hare
Krishna.
Krishna.